So, in some places in the United States, we're starting to see things slowly return to normal, or uh, I guess be turned back on. I guess it's the term, it's the only term I can think of to use. It's really not the best term, but it sort of does fit because it almost seemed like with a flip of the switch, they turned everything off, at least in my state. The governor's stay home, stay safe executive order after this COVID-19 national emergency was declared more or less put a lot of people out of work and shut down a lot of things in the state. They kept things that were essential open, and all these myths and rumors about people getting arrested and roadblocks, and you can't go here and you can't go there. They were a load of crap. But then there was other things that it made no sense to close them or restrict them. Or the people who had jobs that were deemed necessary were angry because they're working more overtime than they've ever worked in their life before, and they feel like they're being sacrificed because they're being told they have to be exposed to this stuff, while other people sat home and collect unemployment. The people sitting home collecting unemployment, some of them were going, "This is more money than I made working," and other people were going, "I'm losing money every week," and it was just a mess. And at the end of the day, I didn't see signs at all the grocery stores in my county, and my county was the worst in the state. And I'm sorry, we were the second worst in the state, third worst state in the country for outbreaks. And I didn't see signs in every grocery store window saying "help wanted, $100 an hour," because that's the only way to lure people in, because cashiers and people stocking the shelves were dropping like flies. It just wasn't happening. And I still kind of, at this point, I'm beginning to wonder if some of the numbers were not, some of the data was fudged or skewed. But the thing is, turning these things back on gradually is a way for them to say, see, it's working, as opposed to just turning everything back on with the flip of a switch like they turned everything off. I honestly think they should just turn everything back on. Just let us go back to normal, because it's just weird how, okay, if you stock shelves you can keep your job, but if you work at the auto plant, in my state, that's the thing that pays most of the bills here, you can't. Construction is going back to work before we do, and then when we go back to work, we're going back to work at a very slow, staggered pace, because nobody's buying cars. They've got tons of cars sitting on the lots that haven't been selling, because you could go to the dealership to get your car fixed, but you couldn't buy a car. They figured out a way to order one online and have it delivered to your house. I mean, I had it done before this pandemic thing, so yeah, it's entirely possible. But it just, people weren't spending money on stuff like that, even though they're offering incentives, and it's a mess. It's just an absolute total mess. At the end of the day, I say they should have never turned this thing off to begin with. They should have just let everybody go about their lives and all that other stuff, because it's going to be a mess. If this had only lasted 2 weeks, I could see everything coming back. I was kind of optimistic. We'll be shut down for 2 weeks, go back to work, everything will be fine. But it's been 2 months, and it's just a mess. But there's something to consider, and I guess I'm directing this at my governor, who's an idiot, by the way. If you can't go to things in my state, but you can go in the neighboring state, Ohio's 90 minutes away. Don't think we wouldn't hesitate to spend a long weekend in Ohio and spend our time and our money there instead of here in the state of Michigan, if we still can't go and do some of the things that we like to do. So I'm going to be watching to see what gets turned on gradually, one thing at a time, and see how things go with my job, when I'm still waiting for a phone call to when I'm going back to work and stuff like that. But in some states where people are whining that everything's so far away, yeah, I'm talking to you, Texas, this doesn't apply to you. But in other states where you can simply drive across the border, people were driving across the border from North Carolina over to Georgia through South Carolina to go to the bars when they closed the bars down in North Carolina. I've heard of some people who did that, right? It's for St. Patrick's Day. So don't think people won't do this stuff. They won't take a vacation somewhere where you don't have to wait in line because the restaurants are allowed to use 100% of their capacity or not down to 25% capacity, or go on vacation where they don't have to be sitting out at the pool wearing a damn mask because of an order or something else like that. People are going to go spend their time and spend their money with their families where they can have a normal life, feel normal, have fun, not be restricted. So if our idiot governor doesn't understand that, the summer is right around the corner, and it's a big tourist thing here in Michigan, especially for northern Michigan. That's where most of their money comes from. And if they don't get the tourism this year, they're going to be in as bad shape as we are in the southern part of the state with the auto industry. It's a mess financially, and you can complain about, or you can spout safety all you want. You can show all the data she wants to show. It's a bunch of bullshit is what it is. So I don't know what we're going to do this summer. Are we going to stay home? Are we going to go to another state? Are we going to stay here? Are we going to go places in Michigan? I don't know. But I'm sure there's other people thinking that too, is where am I going to take my family for vacation this summer because we've been cooped up in the damn house? And there might be some states that prosper off of this because all this out-of-state money that they've never had before floods into their state. Just something to think about, Gretchen.